Hansel and Gretel. Once, a poor woodcutter had a son and a daughter named Hansel and Gretel. One day, they get an evil stepmother. One night, the stepmother tells the woodcutter,
"The kids eat too much and will be starving soon. So, let's leave the children in the forest and get rid of them."
What are you saying? No!
Hansel overhears their conversation. So that night, Hansel goes out and collects shiny white stones.
We will find our right back home. Stop crying, Gretel.
Hansel, tomorrow you're going to deep.
Don't worry, we will survive. Good night, Gretel.
Hansel hides the stones and sleeps. The next morning, the stepmother takes the kids to the forest. Hansel keeps dropping stones on the ground, thinking, "We can follow these stones home."
Why this big tree? Just sit quickly here and I'll be back to get you.
But she never comes back to get them.
Let's get for a ride. Like for Gretel, I dropped a tire of white stone all the way home. So, in the morning, singing on them before we get back home.
So at night, Hansel and Gretel follow the shiny stones out of the forest. The stepmother was secretly angry. A few days later, the stepmother again tricks the children.
Let's go have a picnic in the forest. Here, take this bread to eat later. We'll go in the morning.
This time, the stepmother locked their room at night, and so Hansel couldn't pick up any shiny stones. Next morning, on their way to the forest, Hansel crumbled his bread and left a trail of crumbs instead. Deep in the forest, Hansel and Gretel knew she wouldn't come back again. They slept and waited for nightfall again. When they woke up, the birds and wild animals had eaten up all the crumbs. After walking the entire day, they find a small house.
Look, Dad! The coffee house! Wow! Oh! Come!
The hungry children didn't even stop to think. They hear a voice.
Children, come inside. You seem hungry. I'll make you yummy food right now.
The lady was an evil witch. The kids go in the house with her.
I like to eat kids. I made this house to lure you in. Now, I'll fatten the boy up and make a tasty treat for myself.
Her eyes were red. She had terrible eyesight, but a good sense of smell. She locks Hansel in a cellar. She makes Gretel do all the housework, all the chores. Hansel and Gretel cried and begged, but she had no mercy on them.
Come on, girl. Cook something delicious for your brother.
A week passed. Hansel ate delicious food. While Gretel was always hungry. Every morning, the old witch went to Hansel's cellar.
Show me your finger, boy.
But Hansel would always stick out a little bone for her to feel, because the witch couldn't see very well. She was furious that Hansel was staying so thin. One day, she lost her patience and shouted at Gretel. Gretel had no choice, and she started doing what the evil witch told her.
How can I get into the oven? Please show me so that I can check the water.
Gretel cleverly pushed the old woman in the oven and shut the door. The vicious witch burned to a crisp. Gretel rushed to the cellar and set Hansel free.
Hansel, my dear brother, the witch is dead. Now let's run out of here and find our home.
How happy they were! While running out of the house, Hansel and Gretel walked for a few hours.
Father!
My dear children, I'm so happy you both are alive. I'm sorry for letting you go.
They told their father about the evil witch and how they got her treasure. Finally, they could have a carefree life and lived together, happily ever after.